Hello again. Thomas the Jockey, Mortgage Advisor. Thank you very much for your support. What a week. I think the industry is still sort of reeling from what was brought down on Monday, and I've had an opportunity to reflect on things since then, and I wanted to thank you for your support. Unbelievable. And I wanted to add some sort of perspective and flesh out on what I was talking about on Monday, and to talk about what the two motives were for the changes that were imposed by Ottawa. And they are obviously to cool the market and also fiscal prudence. And so let's talk about first the changes to the market. The reason why I think my original video on Monday would have come across as a little bit of a call to action and agitated and wagging one's finger at Ottawa was that, I was feeling some vicarious frustration on behalf of certain of my clients who have been in a white-hot real estate market for the entire year. And they are sick and tired of lining up for open houses. And they are sick and tired of multiple offers over asking. And they are sick and tired of subject-free offers. I'm sick and tired of subject-free offers, man. That's stressful. And so when we started seeing a little bit of a turn in June, the clients who thought, that we've been forced to the sidelines for much of the year saw a glimmer of hope that we might actually be on the sidelines by choice, started to get pretty excited. Sales are down in June. That looks good. Sales are down in July. We're starting to get pretty excited. Oh, this is good. And then August, the 15% tax for BC. Woo! High fives all the way around. Let's just say TS has us approved for a purchase price somewhere in the range of $700,000. We're looking good. Instead of going to every open house and flooding it and making an offer and hoping we win the bid, let's sit back and wait. Let's look at that place that we loved on the corner of Portage and Main for $735. Let's see if it drifts down to $709. Let's see if we poach it for $700. Yes, it's exactly what we want. Everything's looking good on the mortgage side. Our credit's still good. Our income is steady. Our down payment's ready. TS says keep at it. And then what happens? Monday. All the air let out of the sails for people who thought they were this close to within reach of what exactly they wanted. And so now the conversation on Monday morning, when I come back to the gym, is like, that 700 is now looking more like 550. And so it begs the question, if the intent of this measure is to cool the housing market, borrowing power has gone down, as you've heard throughout the internet, 20, 22, 24, 25%. Will there be a corresponding drop in housing prices? Will a house that traded last week at 700, will that float down to 550? Will the house on Portage and Main at 735 come down to 579? Will Portage and Main be 15 below? Sorry, Neil Young. The answer is, I don't know. Time will tell. Hope springs eternal. And it's not appropriate for me to connect those dots. It's not within the scope of my advice or my license. You need to talk to your realtor about that. And now you need to be back on the sidelines, not by choice. We thought there was a window there, and now it's gone. If in fact prices do come down in a corresponding rate with buying power, or borrowing power I should say, good, fine. And in fact, all things being equal, even if they approach those levels of reduction, well then on balance everybody's better off because there's less debt in the landscape. And that's fiscally prudent. And that brings me to my next point. I was agitated on Monday for reasons that I just described to you. And then having slept on it, or not slept on it, I acknowledge that what Ottawa did is prudent. Somebody over there is looking down the track, half a decade, and saying, are things going to be worse than they are now? Maybe. Are things going to be the same as they are now for a little while? Maybe. Are we willing to bet that things will be the same or worse half a decade from now? Are we willing to take that guess? I mean, what were you doing 5 years ago? I can tell you one thing you probably weren't doing. That's taking out a 5-year fixed rate mortgage at 2.4, 2.3, even under 2.3%, depending who you're working with. So I say, okay, because when the Canadian economy starts to sputter back into gear here, and we see oil, for example, that's back at 60 or 80 or $100, and we see unemployment down and production up, and we see a return to interest rates for mortgages that are normal. Normal. I'm guilty as charged for looking occasionally at my grid of lenders and thinking, like, oh no, this guy's back at 2.79, up from 2.39, or whatever the case may be. We're taking these twos for granted. And so any good mortgage advisor is going to tutor somebody either at the start or during this latest term here, when rates are so low that you have to prepare for the eventuality of higher rates. And what Ottawa has done for us and for you is skip the step. We're not even going to let you through the gate until you're ready for that eventuality. So that's fine. I feel frustrated for the window that has closed for my clients, but I acknowledge that what is being done right is eminently prudent. You compare what we're doing now to what happened in the US of A back in 2008. Hey, fair enough. And so that kind of winds things up for today as we head into the long weekend. And what I've touched on today is basically, everything that's affecting people who are insured borrowers, meaning that they're doing a high ratio mortgage and that's under 20% down payment, and CMHC and all the powers that be on you and those policies. If you are borrowing money and you have a down payment of 20% or more, it's business as usual, no problemo. Or is it? And that's going to be the subject of what I talk about next week, because some of the changes that are in the background for what I alluded to last time, that being back-end insured lenders who don't lend off of a balance sheet, at the moment it's perceived that there has been a competitive disadvantage levied among lenders. And I'll expand on that next week, and I can't wait to tell you about it. In the meantime, have a good weekend, happy Thanksgiving, keep your ears up, and stay apprised.